Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores brings you Garage Logic Podcast number 1375, back in the studio.
I missed the fair.
After a run at the State Fair. It's September 3rd, 2024, 97 degrees on this day in 1925, and as chilly as 32 in the morning on this day at 1974.
Hail the flashlight king.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Heidt in the newsroom, and of course, the rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Souchere.
The headline today in the Star Tribune is nobody can make any sense of this. And quite seriously, for a fleeting moment, I thought they meant the campaign. And
yeah, right. Yeah. We don't know.
But that paper wouldn't have done it. So ultimately, it's about that horrible story at the Park Tavern in St. Louis Park. Yeah. But when I first saw it, I thought nobody can make any sense of this. I did think they meant the campaign. It seems very eerie, the fact that we can't make sense of it. It seems very eerie to me that the Walz and Harris ticket, for example, skips along and has yet to really address anything seriously. And Trump is holed up at the beach house in Florida. The whole thing is just
well, that's because anytime they're asked about a serious issue, they just go away. They stop talking.
Well, now our governor, Tim Walz.
And Harris is just as bad, if not worse.
Walz did make a fair visit, and it was quite well covered, and it was joyful. He stayed at least 40 minutes.
Blink of an eye.
Yeah. They had the snipers on the roof, the whole deal.
And what did he pick up? The proverbial ice cream cone?
Oh, he got a pork chop on a stick.
He was serving ice cream
That's
to the public.
What it was.
He's a man of the people, rookies.
Any questions?
Well, during a brief visit to the fair, Kenny, he ignored a reporter's question asking for his reaction to the news that had just broken, by the way, that the Israeli military had found 6 Hamas-held hostages dead in Gaza. And among those killed was an Israeli-American citizen, Hirsch Goldberg-Poland from Diversityville, whose parents spoke at the DNC on the same night Walz made his acceptance speech. The Israel Defense Forces said the hostages were murdered by Hamas terrorists shortly before our soldiers were able to reach them inside the tunnel in Rafah. What is your reaction to the 6 hostages being found dead in Gaza? A reporter asked the Minnesota governor. I was probably from the Reformer or Alpha News, I would imagine, the reporter. Well, in fact, this is an Alpha story. While he and his press aide, Teddy Shan, were fielding questions during a media scrum in the Dairy Building. Walz was holding a vanilla soft-serve shake and glanced at the reporter for a moment. All right, Walz said, appearing to briefly make eye contact with the identified reporter. He then turned away and waved to the crowd. It's a very weak wave, by the way. It's not a manly wave. It's kind of a floppy deal. Yeah, it's kind of a crazy wave, isn't it? Kind of a crazy wave. Thanks, everybody, Walz said, and then he got out of there, so he didn't ask it. Now, here's the thing I wonder about these two candidates. It doesn't apply to Trump because Trump's remarks are analyzed by conventional news gatherers, right? Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
Yeah.
His theories and such as they are broken down and ultimately ridiculed. Okay. If Harris and Walz are the answer for this country, if they're so great, why are they so protected from having to speak?
Well,
if their ideology and their outlook on America is the way for us to go, and everyone's happy about the decision to have them representing the Democratic Party, why then have they not spoken seriously about what they intend to do, and why, if they are asked something, are they protected by the conventional news gatherers, or in this case, Walz's press. Yes, you in the back.
Pick me.
Yes.
I have an answer for your rhetorical questions.
Yes.
Wait.
They're idiots.
Who are?
Harrison Walz.
No. You're missing the point of the question. If they're so great, why are they so protected from having to say anything?
They're idiots. That's why. They are idiots.
Yeah.
They don't have the answers.
Video of the exchange between Walz and the reporter was captured by a handful of media outlets. Moments earlier, he had toured the famed Princess K of the Milky Way butter sculptures, and we don't know if he had been appraised of the situation in Gaza. But the news of the hostage's death had been widely reported across the globe on Saturday and into Sunday morning. And you would think he would have heard about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then later in the evening, Walz did acknowledge Goldberg-Poland's death on a social media post. But maybe you just say to yourself, well, this is the fair, and that's just a fun time. And he's there to have a pork chop and
some ice cream
and a smoothie.
What's your reaction to the 6 hostages being found dead in Gaza?
Thanks, everybody. That's
Do you think that he'd respond differently if the question was asked in a different area, a different circumstance?
No.
Or
I don't
surrounded?
I don't know.
No.
It's
You brought up something really, really interesting, Joe, that I had not considered until you brought it up. These reporters, they asked Trump some really tough questions, as they should.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then they dissect his response and break it down and theorize on what he means and what he meant, again, as they should. How come we don't see the same thing happening for Harris Walz? Or do we, and I'm just not seeing it?
No, you don't. That was my rhetorical question. The other thing to suggest, that fair, in fairness, every Minnesota politician has gone to the fair and has always considered it a respite from anything serious.
Yeah.
They're at the fair. And I mean, Amy Klobuchar has made a career out of being a non-entity at the fair. She's not going to get involved in anything. Right. She doesn't get involved in anything outside the fair either. But in the fair, she's just glowing with friendliness and cheerfulness. And that's been the fair for Minnesota politicians. And I think it will always be thus. So in that sense, Walz could have been merely falling back on the idea that, look, I'm at the fair. Don't hit me with this kind of stuff. There's a time and place.
Has he ever
for
been
that.
asked that, though?
I don't know.
But to me, it was a simple and easy walk-off question. I'm appalled at what just throw out a quick standard answer and then say goodbye. It wasn't a gotcha question. He didn't ask about the reporter didn't ask about his older brother, for instance, or anything controversial. It just asked a question.
Is that an important story that broke over the weekend, that we learn more about the Walz family?
To me, it's not, but it's interesting. But I don't know.
According to his brother, Walz is not the type of character who should make decisions about America's future. I'm 100% opposed to his ideology, Jeff Walz said Friday evening about his brother. What else do we say here? The New York Post covered this. I think other outlets did too. Besides Jeff, Tim Walz, see, Jeff's the older brother. Tim is 60. Besides Jeff, Tim has a sister, Sandy Dietrich, 63, who lives in Nebraska. Another brother, Craig Walz, 44, died when a tree fell on him during a storm. Which went through a Minnesota campsite in 2016.
Oh, my.
Yeah. Jeff, the older brother, and Tim have not spoken in 8 years. And the governor, who has fudged details of his military career and who delayed calling out the National Guard, during the George Floyd riots, did not bother to let his older brother know he was picked as Harris's running mate.
Wow.
My family was not given any notice that he was selected, Jeff Walz wrote. That's kind of, at the very least, that's interesting, isn't it?
I think that's interesting. It's noteworthy, Joe.
Jeff Walz's feelings about his younger brother came to light after conservative activist Laura Loomer discovered in a Facebook post he wrote in March of 2023, the day Trump was indicted by a Manhattan grand jury over hush money paid to Stormy Daniels. We've just become a third world banana republic, he wrote in a post that has now gained 518 likes. That's nothing. He donated, Jeff, $20 to Trump's presidential campaign. There were no recorded donations to his brother during Tim Walz's years in the House of Representatives. Jeff Walz said to the New York Post Saturday, "I'm not doing interviews." Okay. Little has been reported about the married dad who lives on the Florida Panhandle in Freeport with his wife, Lori. Social media show him sail fishing in Costa Rica. Other posts show Walz on the beach and smiling, hugging two young kids on various family outings. He and Lori owned SoFi Music in Inverness, a musical instrument and equipment store during the decade 2001 to 2010. He was also an assistant principal at a Citrus County middle school in the early 2000s. Lori Walz, that's Jeff's wife, is a Facebook friend with a number of relatives in the extended family, including Jeff's siblings, Tim Walz and Sanda Dietrich, and several Dietrich family members. She's also connected with Craig Walz's widow, Julie. Jeff Walz and Sandy Dietrich, along with Tim, are all graduates of Chadron State College in Nebraska. So maybe I don't know what the family rift is. It's unclear what caused the apparent rift between the brothers. But they have something. They have something in common. Brushes with the law.
Yeah.
Tim Walz was arrested in 1995 for a DUI, and his brother pleaded guilty in 2001 to misdemeanor retail theft and was sentenced to 6 months of probation. That's according to public records in Citrus County, Florida. And anybody wishing to run for office, keep in mind, which is why we don't get anybody good to run for office. There's not a corner of your life that wouldn't be discovered. Not a corner.
The question is, should it or should it not be used against you? I mean, is any of it, Matthew said it's noteworthy, but is it meaningful?
It's newsworthy, I think, but I don't think it's something anybody bases a vote on, do they? Because we've got other candidates. Trump, his
Trump's
sister,
a crook.
Yeah.
his sister thinks he's crazy. His nephew, we had that stuff a couple of weeks ago. The entire Kennedy family said,
Yeah.
The Kennedy family thinks Bobby's crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
It's newsworthy, I think, but I don't think.
Well, you want to know what Jeff Walz stole?
No, not really.
Well, I'm going to tell you anyway.
Lay it on me, brother.
A bicycle tube, handlebar grips, and a 3-way outlet adapter totaling $13 from an Inverness Walmart, according to the Tampa Bay Times. He was ordered to do community service, attend a shoplifting course. Maybe that's to teach how to do it better.
How to do a better shoplifting.
How do you suppose those are very specific items that he probably wasn't going to put on Facebook Marketplace? You think he just left his wallet at home? Didn't want to go back? You think it was? I mean,
yeah, those are kind of odd.
If that's
Very
the only
specific
blot,
items.
if that's the only blot on your record in life, it's hard to believe that he had a thieving heart throughout his life. I'm going to go with Kenny here. He forgot his wallet, and he said, "The hell with it. I'm going to stick this tube."
Wait, maybe there's more, Joe. He stole a car and a condo unit.
This was just the precursor, the foreplay, shoplifting foreplay.
I am stuck in a pair of handcuffs.
Maybe that was it. Zip
It's all
ties?
brain clutter. All this Walz' older brother stuff to me. It's stuff I didn't need to know or don't care about.
Harris is apparent. Now, this is Jeff Walz is not the first family member to take issue with the prominent politician relative. Harris is apparently estranged from her dad, Donald, while RFK Jr.'s family has denounced him. Barack Obama was famously dogged by his Kenyan half-brother Malik, while Trump has faced a book-length commendation from his niece Mary, and along with another book by his nephew Fred Trump. So you know what? Nothing will.
Yes.
Whatever you want to find out
You're going to find
can be
out.
found out.
In the garage.
That's
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
Let's go to Trump in the book. He's got 2 relatives that have written books about him.
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
That because they can't
Fred-
make any money doing anything
I
else.
guess Fred and Mary.
I mean, that seems highly suspect. to
I don't
me.
think the country's ever been in a darker spot politically.
Yeah,
I really
I think
don't.
you're right. You're
I
right.
really don't. Just never in a darker spot politically.
Civil War, maybe.
Well, that was pretty dark, but terribly important. All of this seems so unserious. All of it seems like such play acting.
The period between the First World War and the Second World War, that was pretty dark.
Yeah.
Certainly during our lives, though. You're
When
dead on there.
you look at these fools, Trump and Harris, and you wonder, how did we get here? And then we realize we're beginning to understand better how it's all orchestrated. How did Jimmy Carter, who ironically is thought to have been a bad president, how did Jimmy Carter get to be president? He does not seem that he was part of any inside cabal.
Aw, shucks, peanut farmer.
It seems like he was a real human being. He's still alive, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
He weighs about 6
He's
ounces.
been in and out of hospice.
But how did he get to be president? Now, Reagan, who I like in retrospect, I was too dumb to know that I liked him when I liked him.
When you didn't.
He at least had, he was governor of California. He was plugged into some insiders. Well,
Yeah.
Jimmy was governor of Georgia,
Yeah.
Right.
but Georgia ain't California.
No.
That's right.
No,
How
in
did
fact, they're on
Jimmy
the other
Carter
side of the
get to be
country.
president? That's
It was
fascinating.
real grassroots. When you
Oh,
read
it
about
really was.
very grassroots.
Who did he run against? Ford?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Say, I have good news from Renewal by Anderson.
This is why you shouldn't scoff at the weed part.
He was a horrible politician, but he was a really good soul.
You know who loves him?
Who?
Randy Wayne White.
Oh, really?
There was a New Year's Eve at Randy Wayne White's fishing shack on the island,
Okay.
and the Carter family had joined him.
Really?
Yep.
He seems like a great soul, and he's done great work post-presidency.
Well, he was a horse bleep president.
Yeah, I know that.
You know.
I like June Carter.
No, that would be the Johnny Carter's wife.
And for those of you wondering, Horsch is spelled Horsce.
Right.
Oh, I've got good news for Renewal by Anderson's. They're extending the State Fair sale. It was a wonderful sale, and now it's through September 28. Buy a new window, get 40% off when you buy 4 or more windows or patio doors. No money down, no monthly payments, no interest for 12 months. I'm talking about the Renewal Acclaim window replacements. Anderson's engineering innovation present in every component. These babies work, and they're very good looking. Ensemble doors, they seal the weather tight every time. We're heading into the seal the weather tight season, aren't we? Take advantage of the extended State Fair sale pricing now, good through September 28. Windows, patio doors, entry doors, Renewal by Anderson has you covered. Learn more at renewalbyanderson.com/Garage Logic or call Renewal by Anderson at 651-705-6931.
Where were we? Oh, Seafoam. Prevent common engine problems, run better, last longer, and then get there without thinking twice about the distance or the weather conditions. Seafoam motor treatment gives you peace of mind knowing that that daily driver of yours is up to the task. Now, I know a lot of people, they run to the Seafoam when things get weird, the sputtering, the hesitating, hard starting. That's fine. Always go to Seafoam before heading to the mechanic. But if you want to get out in front of the issue and ensure that it's always running like a champion, give it a gulp every now and then. A couple of glugs, I'm going to say every third fill up. And that'll keep your engine happy. Seafoam is made with safe ingredients that can't harm your engine or equipment. And it doesn't matter what that equipment is, a small engine, large engine, gas, diesel. Seafoam is always the answer. It revives, it keeps it alive, and that's no jive.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Really?
Poet, he don't know it.
Gotcha.
I
on that
give
one.
myself a pat on the back. It's a wonderful product in a world of bad gas. It's Seafoam.
In the meantime, we have Kamala Harris, who apparently uses a different accent
Yeah.
in every city she visits. For example, what do you have, Chris? You have,
Which clip would you like, sir?
well, you have to tell me what you have.
I have two different clips of your next president, Kamala Harris, two different accents that she's using just to basically utter the same sentence.
Okay,
One
what's the first city?
the first city is Detroit versus how she says it in Pittsburgh.
All right.
The same sequence.
Just get through the next 64 days. How about that? Let's just get through the next 64 days. How about that?
All right.
Just a minute.
Yes, sir.
First of all, it was a Labor Day deal. There is no Detroit accent. I don't know what.
I didn't think there was either.
What get through the next 64 days.
Mhm.
Was she addressing a black audience and demeaning them in that way? Now, does she say the same thing in Pittsburgh?
Until the most election of our lives. Let's just get through the next 64 days. How about that?
Oh, wait, what are you doing here?
It's the clip. It's running in sequence. See,
Oh. So in Pittsburgh, she spoke civilly.
much more eloquently.
Yeah. So now, okay, let's
But
continue.
okay, before I continue, what Kenny said in the previous segment is true, because the reason that Walz didn't answer the question is we would be doing this very thing. We would be breaking it down. Whereas if he just doesn't give an answer, there's nothing to criticize.
No, I disagree that the two things you're bringing up are not analogous. She is not saying anything regarding policy. I'm just focused on her accent.
Okay.
And what I think we should continue to play the game. Is it even important? Does anybody care? Probably not.
Can I?
No.
I think what Reavers just said matters, because here we are focusing on her stupid accent instead of her policies, what she's going to do for us. You know what I'm saying? We're breaking down something that's absolutely stupid. We're wasting a lot of time talking about it. We're having fun, but we're not discussing the issues.
Because we don't know what they are, and this is all we have.
Right.
This is what we're given.
Right.
The American people are treated poorly by these people.
Yep.
The other part from Detroit that I wanted to play for you, this is basically Harris being accused of adopting this Baptist minister mindset and delivery, and this was part of that Detroit speech as well.
You better thank a union member
Foghorn Leghorn.
for the 5-day work week. You better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave. You better thank a union member for vacation time.
I find this frightening. I'm sorry. I find this eerie. This is just really weird, really strange. And then to
What
have her
about-
show up somewhere else and not talk like that. This is odd. The whole thing is, I thought this is what the headline was about in the paper. Nobody can make any sense of this.
I don't disagree with you, but what about what she was saying? Was she correct on all those
Well,
things?
yeah,
Are
she's thanking the labor movement and
Are we
unions.
supposed
Well,
to?
until unions came along, Kenny, kids age 9 were working. So, the unions have had their place in American history. So,
Is it going to become a case, however, we're going to regret who we voted out of office?
You can no longer be the manufacturing capital of the world. Where the hell is that written? We are the greatest manufacturing city, county in the
Sure,
world,
yeah.
state in the world, state in the world. We're going to remain
What?
that way.
He just sat on a beach for 2 weeks. Who's running the country?
Ain't nobody at the helm.
You are, rookie.
I don't want that kind of.
No, rookie's running the airport.
Yeah. And I haven't been.
That's
fully
frightening
briefed.
enough.
I haven't been fully briefed.
Now, back to Walzy. Liz Collin interviewed a fellow named Alan Shen. He was born in communist China. He's a Minnesotan, an Army veteran, a Republican. He came to this country when he was 12. He previously ran for a seat in the Minnesota House. He was born in China. He said, I was growing up in the 1980s. People might not know that the 80s were actually the honeymoon time between the U.S. and China because of Nixon having visited and Jimmy Carter establishing relationships. We learned quite a bit about the West, Shen said. Things were really good until Tiananmen Square massacre. I think because the society was more open than today, and of course, during the Cultural Revolution, the students were marching on the streets and protesting, asking for freedom. Today, there's no way you can do that. After diving into his family history, Shen has spent years educating others about communist China by speaking in front of college kids and other groups about the realities of communism. In pointing out some of the similarities between the Chinese Cultural Revolution and the current day Democratic Party, Shen said, I see that the Democrat Party has been changing so much and their messaging is a way of dividing people. I find a lot of similarities between what they're doing and what Mao did during the Cultural Revolution. Shen said that when communists come into a country, they try to erase a country's identity and history. That's what Mao did because Mao burned down all these old Chinese temples, erased Chinese history. Anything old was deemed bad, so he burned down all the old statues. I'm just telling my students here in Minnesota, burning down old statues. Does that sound familiar? Then he brings up, we toppled the Christopher Columbus statue at the Capitol. He talks about the new state flag. He thinks that our history is being erased. I've been saying that for ages, bit by bit. But you know what? It's happening so slowly here that helps explain why people are not alarmed. It's happening at a glacial speed in this country.
Gaslighting?
Yeah, it's just happening so slowly. See, you can still get in your own car and go to the grocery store and buy a tomato.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
What kind?
So there.
I thought you made up a new term.
I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Gaslighting?
No, you're
Gas-
right on the mark. You're absolutely.
It's
on the
just
mark.
happening so slowly. We don't see it. Shen is wondering whether Walz has embraced Maoist ideology. He's like a core Maoist. He probably found out that in China. The system that you have can have absolute power, and he might now be envious of the powers the Chinese government has, Shen said. Okay, you know what? I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know where Liz dug this guy up. The one thing I do think is I really question how people are looking at Walz and thinking he's the American dad.
I don't see that. I really do not see
He
that.
seems like a terribly detached guy. He doesn't own property. He doesn't have investments. He doesn't. Have you ever seen him at a Twins game? He doesn't. He's like a super in the sense that you never see him. You ever get in any? But he's panned off as this, flannel shirt wearing regular guy. BS.
If he was that regular guy, he would have come on the show a long time ago.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of places he doesn't go anymore in the state because he was asked a question there once, a question he found hard to answer. So he doesn't go to the governor's fishing opener. He doesn't go to Farm Fest. But back to this Alpha piece, Joe, I think he hit the nail on the head in a lot of aspects. The dividing of the peoples. They love
but
doing that.
Trump has done a great amount of work to divide the people. This is why I say we're in the darkest period of American politics.
Give me an example, so I can.
He is full of hatred. He admires Putin. He wants to be a dictator. He thinks America should be run the way he believes it should be run, and unfortunately, he's got a group of MAGA people who believe the same thing. We're doomed. We are doomed. This is the darkest period in American history in terms of politics.
You don't deny that the Democrats are doing the same thing.
They're both doing it. They're both horrific parties. They do not mean what they once meant. They are represented by people who absolutely do not deserve to be in charge of this country. And there is no place to turn.
You're making a huge push for not voting this election in my eyes. That's what I'm hearing from you. And a vote has to be cast. I mean, if you want us to keep going down the road we're going down, don't vote or vote for Harris Walz. If you're happy with the direction of the country now,
I'm not happy with
the,
I'm not happy.
I'm not
with
talking
the
to you. I'm talking to the general public. If you're happy being divided from your neighbor, if you're happy with history being erased, vote for the Democrats and we'll continue down that road. If you're not happy, I don't see what your other option is. You have to vote for Trump, don't you?
Yes. I really don't understand either what the blind followers to climate change realize could be coming. I just don't think they get it. First of all, they don't understand the whole movement has nothing to do with the environment. Nothing. Never has, never will. Has nothing to do with the environment.
So you're saying that the proposed tax plan from Kamala Harris would be detrimental to this country?
Yes. Well, but you can cure climate change with more taxes.
Is that it? That's the answer.
Right. That can stop a hurricane. If you were taxed more, you could stop a hurricane. If only you were taxed more.
A second death tax.
Mm-hmm.
Second.
A second.
Because, you weren't getting taxed enough the first time.
That headline Friday that I brought up at the fair, where you really can't get anything going in that regard. We had a music Friday. But the Star Tribune, I think it was the play headline, "You just lived through the most humid summer." Okay, fine. Why are you telling me that? What do you want to be the result of that? Right. What action do you want from me? First of all, I don't believe it. Wasn't any more humid than any other time. You got about 4 days of humidity in in Minneapolis.
But that's how they set it up, because they will want to.
So what do you want though? What if you tell that lie often enough, people are going to start wondering what we should do about it. And they won't do anything. They'll start wondering what the government should do about it. And what the government will end up doing about it will have nothing to do with humidity. Nothing.
Oh.
And that's when you're glass-lit.
Yep. You're glass-lit.
I think it's gas-lit.
Yeah, I think so, maybe. I like glass-lit.
I bet EcoFun had a fun run at the state fair. They were at the fair up on Machinery Hill. Now they're back in the building in Forest Lake, Columbus.
No joke. Tuesday after Fratelloni and I did our show, a guy came up to me and said he just went up to talk to Tim at their booth.
You'd be crazy not to. At the fair, you were getting one at regular price and one half off.
Oh, what was that guy's name?
EcoFun Motorsports is on Highway 97, immediately west of the interstate in Forest Lake / Columbus. The electric bike capital of the world, home to scooters, motorcycles, ATVs, side-by-sides, and as I say, electric bikes. And how about these for some of the premier brands? Yamaha, Kawasaki, Aprilia, Moto Guzzi, Vespa, Lance, and Bentelli. Great big parking lot there.
Yeah.
You want an electric bike?
Is that where you park?
Pick the one out you want.
Got it.
Take it outside.
Go.
Ride it around. Get the thing adjusted. Bing, bang, boom.
I've done that.
Great people at EcoFun Motorsports. Great service, apparel, helmets. It's EcoFun Motorsports in Forest Lake / Columbus on Highway 97, just west of the interstate, and down in Burnsville on the Service Road of Life, and a great website at ecofunmotorsports.com.
Here's a man who spends hours in hardware stores, sifting through the nuts and bolts of life. Joe Souchere.
And as my beautiful voice just carries over this wonderfully, very specifically selected piece of bumper music, I'm going to tell you about Welter Heating. Ray and Welter Heating since 1912. That's over 100 years. They're back with Garage Logic supporting GL's podcast. Their phone number is 612-825-6867. I don't expect you to remember that. I expect you to remember welterheating.com. 4 generations. Heating, cooling, air purification systems. And they've got their 24/7. If you need emergency furnace repair, whatever the case may be. And again, don't leave it to chance. Have them check it now before you flip the switch. It's going to be in the 60s, and it's going to be going down to the 40s, the 30s, the 20s, and you're going to depend on that.
To the 10, to the 5.
And touchdown! They've got them all. Touch them all, Ray and Welter. Welterheating.com. They are wonderful people. You can get a quote online, and they will score the touchdown for you. They know the score.
Boy, I hope they're.
It ain't halftime at Welter. I'll tell you right now, Rick, it ain't halftime. We need you.
Rick, I apologize.
4 quarters here. We're in the 4th quarter. All right, Ray and Welter. Don't forget to heat up your shelter with the fine folks at Ray and Welter.
Here's John Heidt.
Pretty good, huh?
Thank
Touchdown.
you, Joe. This update is brought to you by North American Banking Company. The man who was arrested in connection with a fatal crash at Park Tavern in St. Louis Park Sunday night has been identified as Stephen Frayne Bailey. The 56-year-old Bailey was booked into Hennepin County Jail on probable cause criminal vehicular homicide. 2 people killed in the incident, 4 injured. 34-year-old Christina Folkerts was working when she was hit. Gabe Harvey, an employee from nearby Methodist Hospital, identified as the other person killed. He was with a group of fellow workers who were celebrating their friend's last nursing shift. The others injured were identified as part of that group, at least 2 of those with severe injuries. Surveillance video showed the Bailey vehicle entering the parking lot. Officials say he then attempted to park before accelerating into the patio area. Minnesota State Patrol and several local agencies worked through the night Sunday and into Monday to find out exactly what happened. Law enforcement members spoke to several witnesses who were at the business enjoying their Sunday evening at the time the crash happened. The investigation into the incident is still happening.
Do we know if he was drunk?
They have not said that yet. He had 2 previous DUIs.
Shades of Johnny Goudreau and his brother getting mowed down on their bicycles in New Jersey.
Yeah.
He was the Hobie Baker winner for Boston College, a better player than I even realized. I didn't know he was from New Jersey. There's some speculation as to why they were riding their bikes at night. And
The night before a wedding.
well, it might be that they were doing the responsible thing. Maybe they were at the party and shouldn't have driven a car. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Sure.
You know.
Inver Grove Heights Police Department sharing details about a very odd recent incident. The department said it all began on Sunday when officers arrested 2 people found slumped over in a car. The driver was arrested for driving while intoxicated, while the passenger was arrested on outstanding warrants. Later, the driver was set to be released to a sober party and called a friend to pick her up at the station. According to police, the friend who arrived to pick up the driver had 3 arrest warrants out in multiple counties, arrived in a stolen vehicle that had incorrect plates on it.
All right, that's strike 3, Family Feud.
That's a candidate for the Gumption County
Yes.
Institute for the Criminal
Really is.
Competence.
Gosh.
Police said the man knew about his arrest warrants, but decided to arrive at the station to pick up his friend anyway.
You know what he said? He said, what the hell?
Do it.
I'll chance it.
I'll take a shot.
Wait. Is this an example of undefeated?
I don't know. Who's he picking up?
A female.
Drunk girl.
Friend,
Oh,
willing to risk
Yeah.
it.
willing to risk it.
See, now when I go down to Shakopee, my tabs are up to date on a vehicle that I own. And I don't show up drunk. Getting drunk is later.
That's right.
After
Yeah,
learning
yeah.
about
Need a ride?
After learning about his warrants, police went to place the man into custody, but when an officer went to open the door of the vehicle to arrest him, he sped off. The officer was hurt with minor injuries. Other officers began chasing the vehicle. The chase eventually ended on Highway 52 when a South St. Paul police officer performed a pit maneuver to stop the vehicle. There were 3 people in the reportedly stolen vehicle. The man wanted on warrants was arrested, while the other 2 occupants, who were determined to be uninvolved and had no idea what was going on, were later released. The driver was placed in Dakota County Jail on multiple new charges, including assault on a police officer and fleeing in a motor vehicle.
The other 2 who didn't know what was going on. Do you believe that?
No.
No.
I mean, just out of the blue, I don't know what's going on. I'm just sitting back
Well,
here.
they might not have known about his warrants, maybe. You'd think they knew about the stolen vehicle, probably, though, wouldn't you?
You would think, yeah.
you would think that. Burnsville police asking for the public's help in finding the person or persons who shot 5 people at a city park Friday night. 4 of the 5 victims remain hospitalized. The authorities closed the park during the investigation. About 8:15 on Friday night, Burnsville police responded to 911 calls of shots fired at Red Oak Park near the basketball court area of the park. When they got there, they found 4 people with gunshot injuries, 3 victims taken to the hospital, and a 4th person treated and released at the shooting scene. Anyone with information about the shooting is asked to contact the Burnsville Police Department. No arrests have been made, and the park was closed to the public Saturday as police investigated.
All I'm saying is, right now, look at me.
Yep.
Right now, today,
Yep.
you can still get in your own car
Yep.
and drive to the store
Okay.
and buy food. Or if you live on a lake today,
You ride a boat.
you could take your boat across the lake to the store and buy food. I'm saying that today.
That's okay.
I'm just saying you can do that today.
When do I get them government tomatoes?
That I'm just saying you can do that today.
Okay.
1 man is dead, 7 people injured after an explosion at a campfire just north of Hibbing. Law enforcement and first responders called to French Township just before 8:30 Friday night. When they got there, they found a group of family and friends had gathered to enjoy the holiday weekend. While the group was preparing the campfire, an unknown flammable liquid was used to start the fire, causing the flames to explode. Deputies say 53-year-old Marvin Thiessen of Hibbing died at the scene, and a 14-year-old girl from Saginaw airlifted to a Twin Cities hospital with serious burns. St. Louis County Sheriff's Office says the incident is still under investigation.
So what? They use Boy Scout water? That I don't like that story. I need more information.
In other words, we don't know what blew up.
What did they use? How close were they? What was the process? Let's go here.
Reporting is
Boy
not what
Scout
it used
water.
to be.
There's a proper way to do the wrong thing, and you have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota State fairgoers were in plenty of company once again this Sunday. Daily attendance records broken. Did you see some of the pictures from Sunday?
A lot of John. If we were there Sunday, we would not have seen pavement.
The state fair logged 256,015 people on Sunday. That beat the previous record set in 2019 by about 11,000 people. This was the 5th time during this year's event that a daily attendance record fell. They haven't posted yesterday's yet. I just checked right before we started the news. Now, despite all these records, the overall attendance probably will not fall, and here's why. We had those 2 really weird days, one that was really hot and ended up with storms, and another one that was really humid and we ended up with storms.
You lived through the worst humidity of your life.
So those 2 days, Monday the 26th and August the 29th, just between 80 and 81,000 people attended the fair. So to set a record, and this obviously did not happen, they would have had 376,000 people visit the fair yesterday. So we will not have a new record for total fair attendance.
But at what point are they going to extend it? Or will they?
I was wondering that myself.
I think they'd be crazy too. Don't fix what isn't broken. Just leave it the way it is.
It started early on Monday instead of Thursday.
Yeah, Monday, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying, Kenny?
That way GL could be out there 10 days.
Love that.
That'd be fun.
GL has made its final appearance at the state fair.
Really? Is that breaking
Yeah.
news?
That's breaking news.
GLers, we're also going to start eventually talking about taking Fridays off. So in the same vein there.
Why don't we, on that note, stop to think about this and take a quick break?
Well, okay, because
Yeah, what do you got?
I'll be glad to tell you. See, you listen to this show. I'm
Is
going
it
to get
still State Fair savings time?
Yeah,
let me
just the
look.
season.
Well, I don't think so.
Okay.
But you listen to this show, we only bring you the best. people for your house, you're going to fix it all up. You got a stucco problem? Go with Donley Stucco. You know why? They've been doing this for 100 years. Stucco, plaster, Donley Stucco and Exteriors is a complete exterior contractor and restoration company. You got storm damage? Call Donley. You got solutions you need from small patches to full home facelifts. Get a hold of Donley. You got water leaking? Get a hold of Donley. It's high quality construction solutions for the Twin Cities metro area, and it has been for more than 100 years. And all exterior assessments are absolutely free. Donley Stucco, Donley. Donley Stucco, one word, donleystucco.com, or call Donley Stucco at 612-722-4200.
BRB.
Arby's?
VBRO.
Yeah.
VRBO.
VRBO. Yeah.
I was on Minnetonka yesterday,
You lucky devil.
and it was
Bet there were a few craft out there.
yeah, and I did see some your Chris Crafts out there too.
What were you on?
I was on a cabin cruiser.
Who owns it?
Meadows' grandmother. She has a place on Minnetonka
Summer only or all year round?
all year round. She just built a house a couple of years ago, and so we just went cruising on the lake. I stopped at Fletcher's and had a beer at Fletcher's. Fletcher's was packed.
That's some serious scenery in the on a summer weekend.
I saw a piece of property worth $68 million.
The house?
Yeah, that
It's been in the paper.
Yeah, it's not lived in right now. It's why would a builder do that though and not have
So
somebody?
it wasn't built on speculation.
Well, nobody's living there right now.
Well, that I don't know, but it had an owner.
I saw Davis's place, Marty. There's a lot of people out there. There's some serious money.
Where's the $68 million place?
I don't have my sense of direction with Minnetonka. I don't remember.
You probably don't even know where Grandma lives.
Yeah, you just keep going out 12. She's over there on Heron Bay, Heron Lake. Heron.
Did you have hard-boiled eggs and nuts?
D's?
Yeah.
What did we have? No, we had Jimmy John sandwiches, appetizers, and stuff like that.
Did you look at the village?
Yeah, I went over and saw the village. We went over to John's house. He's putting up the village right
John,
now.
Life Source is complete.
It is. Okay.
Finalement.
I did not know that.
Neither did I.
Well, we're waiting.
Is there a spot here, Christopher?
Ken, I'll take a Sherman Buildings.
Sherman and Peabody.
Sherman Oaks.
My sister-in-law's dog's name is Sherman.
Sherman Helmsley.
Bobby Sherman?
You ready? Wasn't he the chess player?
No,
Yeah.
He was an actor and
That was
singer.
Eddie Fisher.
That was Bobby Fischer.
Eddie Fisher.
Got it.
Hello, let's
That
go.
was Carrie Fisher's dad.
I see.
Before you get any more stupid.
Huh?
It's not
I'm
possible.
better now.
Yeah.
Fighting the demagogues of diversity. It's Joe Souchere.
Don't mind me. I've been off the air here doing math on my pocket computer.
Yeah.
48 is the total I came up with. 48. ShermanPoleBuildings.com. Quality erection since 1976. Doesn't matter how you do that math. It comes out as 48. I've checked. I've triple checked. 48 years
48
of quality
what?
expertise erecting both traditional and post-frame buildings.
Damn,
and
I want
stone
one.
and steel buildings on concrete slabs. A lot of different users for these sheds. Some guys just sit around and dream about it. Some guys actually pull the trigger, and it doesn't matter what your shed is going to be used for. Farm machinery, storage, shops, to businesses, manufacturing, to us GLers. toy boxes for our stuff, a space for our hot rods, our motorbikes, RVs, fish house, whatever it is that's crowding you out of your garage and out of your yard, a space to get away from everything. Now, you have to read between the lines here. A space to get away from everything else and just hang out with your cylinders. Peace of mind there, right? A peace and quiet. They can build any style you want. It doesn't matter. Do you need a traditional pole building with no plans for a concrete slab, or do you need a steel toy box working for you? Your site, if it has rocks or a high water table, this would be perfect for you. If you want insulation, heating, cooling in the building. And then that's when you put that little lounge in the corner with a couch, a TV, and a giant fridge. If you're thinking about it, just go ahead and log on to ShermanPoleBuildings.com. Click over to building types and building features, and you'll get the ideas flowing. If you don't know what you want, but you do know you want it, let the expert builders at Sherman Pole Buildings help you out. They'd love to. Log on to ShermanPoleBuildings.com. Quality erections since 1976.
Thank you, Kenny. In national and international headlines, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu pushing back against a new wave of pressure to reach a ceasefire deal in Gaza after hundreds of thousands of Israelis protested and went on strike in Israel. In his first public address since Sunday's mass protest showed many Israelis' furious response to the discovery of 6 more dead hostages, Netanyahu said he will continue to insist on a demand that has emerged as a major sticking point in talks, that is, continued Israeli control of the Philadelphia corridor, a narrow band along Gaza's border with Egypt where Israel contends Hamas smuggles weapons into Gaza. Egypt and Hamas both deny it. A rare general strike held across the country on Monday to protest Netanyahu's handling of the situation. 2 ballistic missiles blasted a military training facility and nearby hospital Tuesday in Ukraine, killing at least 49 people, wounding 200 others. The strike hit the central eastern city of Poltava, the capital of the region of the same name, partially destroying a building used by the Poltava Military Institute of Communications. Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin getting a red carpet welcome today on a state visit to Mongolia, whose failure to arrest him under a warrant from the International Criminal Court was criticized by Ukraine as a blow against justice. As he stepped out of the limousine in the capital Ulaanbaatar, Putin was greeted by his Mongolian counterparts, Unhanagan Kuroleshku.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in front of a row of ceremonial guardsmen on horseback.
They have the big fur hats
I'm seeing
on.
Mongolian. Yeah, that's my cartoon bubble as well.
They actually were dressed normal. I was surprised. So, 4 passengers on a Chicago area commuter train fatally shot Monday, police said, in an early morning attack that rattled the suburban village of Forest Park, Illinois. The victims were discovered around 5:30 in the morning local time at Forest Park Station, the Chicago Transit Authority's Blue Line terminus, after police said they got a 911 call. Authorities say it appears the 4 were sleeping when they were shot. Chicago police officers took a suspect into custody shortly after. And police in Forest Park, about 10 miles west of downtown Chicago, said in a statement. Forest Park police said they used video surveillance footage to locate the suspect. Forest Park police did not identify the suspect, have not criminally charged anyone as part of the investigation. Montana's race for the Senate expected to be close, and it's drawing national attention. Some allegations surfacing have Montana Republican Tim Sheehy, who is running against U.S. Senator John Tester, the Democrat. Apparently, Sheehy recorded making racially charged and disparaging comments about Native Americans. The official news publication of the Flathead Indian Reservation revealed the audio of the Republican candidate during a fundraiser, Sheehy trashing his relationship with Crow Reservation tribal members, saying, quote, "A great way to bond with all the Indians while they're drunk at 8 a.m. It's not the first issue for Sheehy. Last month it was revealed he was on the verge of watching the business he started and is touted as his main qualification for the job collapse because the company can't pay his bills. Also, his question as a Navy SEAL, his time as a Navy SEAL has been questioned after the Washington Post found inconsistencies in an account of his being shot. He said he was shot while in service. However, she told a National Park Service ranger in 2015 he accidentally shot himself when his Colt .45 revolver fell at Glacier National Park. Meanwhile, Democrat Tester has his own controversy. Montana student athletes say they were offered thousands of dollars. They publicly endorsed Tester, who has advocated for transgender athletes to be allowed to compete in sports against biological women. A story from last week. We had a lot of discussion about this one off air. We didn't do any news, of course, at the fair, but in Tempe, Arizona, an investigation underway after a Wells Fargo employee died while on the job. A new timeline released by police suggests her body was there for 4 days before being discovered. The body was found inside the Wells Fargo corporate office in Tempe.
That's a tough way to go.
Tempe police confirmed to 12 News that on August 16th, 60-year-old Denise Prudhomme scanned into work at the building at 7 in the morning, as usual. 4 days later, on August 20th, building security called authorities after finding an unresponsive worker. They got there and confirmed Prudhomme was dead. Another employee spoke with 12 News anonymously, said a colleague found Prudhomme dead at her desk in a cubicle while walking around the building. Prudhomme's cubicle was reportedly on the 3rd floor and away from the main aisle. That employee said several people had smelled a foul odor, but passed it off as faulty plumbing.
Yeah,
it happens.
That'll happen.
You get that raw stink.
Didn't anybody try to find this woman?
Wow.
Was there any news about that, John?
There's nothing that says anybody was looking for her, so you wonder about family is what you're thinking.
I know how she feels. Yeah.
We'd find you.
In the back, sir? I thought you had a question.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say, there's, I guess, somewhat of a silver lining / ray of hope.
Well,
for you.
Not for me.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
This would never happen to you at the Pioneer Press.
No, because there isn't one.
Right. So they're saving you. They're basically saving you.
There's no secret corner to hide in.
Right.
Yeah.
After
That's a
the
shame
story,
that woman sat there all that time.
After this story came out last week, I made a point of walking through sales and checking every single desk there at Hubbard Broadcasting. Turns out nobody's dead at their desk.
You want to check it before a long weekend.
In radio sales.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole cubicle thing, it's kind of depressing when you picture that in your mind, isn't it? Some poor soul sitting
Wasn't
there.
that the whole inspiration behind Dilbert? Is the whole the cubicle thing?
I don't know.
Well, how out of the way is the cubicle?
Expert.
It sounds like in her case, it was way out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was up a few floors, wasn't it, Kenny? Or I remember reading.
Corner, yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't have to wear pants at her desk or any of that stuff.
They do say no foul play was involved here.
Did she have pants on?
I would imagine she did, Kenny. Yeah.
Okay.
Trousers.
You say
of
so.
some sort.
Trousers. There's a good word. Huh? 2 Henderson, Nevada men have been indicted, are set to face trial for allegedly damaging ancient rock formations at Lake Mead. Payden Cosper and Wyatt Fain were arraigned, and both men pleaded not guilty to 1 count of injury and depredation of government property. According to allegations in the indictments, on April 7th, 2024, the men pushed chunks of ancient rock formations over the edge of a cliff near the Redstone Dunes Trail at the Lake Mead National Recreation Area, causing an excess of $1,000. Ross Goodman, an attorney representing one of the men, said there are no signs posted at the entrance that say, "Don't push the rocks." Mr. Cosper did not have any knowledge, he said, that pushing a boulder was unlawful until U.S. Marshals showed up at his house 4 months later. Brian Pugh, the attorney representing the other man, said the justice system presumes all accused of a crime are presumed innocent until proven otherwise. This applies to Mr. Fain. They have set a jury trial for October 8th. The defendants could each face up to 10 years in prison if convicted. Park rangers had sought the public's help in April in identifying the suspects because the whole thing was captured on video. The damage to the protected formations, which were shaped over time out of 140 million-year-old sand dunes, is irreversible. John Haynes, recreation area spokesperson, called the destruction appalling. That area covers about 1.5 million acres. You might remember this was in the news a couple years ago. The Lake Mead Reservoir, I remember water levels plummeted, and we found some sunken boats and several human remains that it's assumed came from Las Vegas and various mafia wars from that.
Would you guys like an update on a fellow who has won the Game of Flaws?
Yes.
Sure.
I didn't know that was an option.
Our friend Bill Stein writes that recently a dear friend and golfing buddy of 51 years was at home when his wife suddenly lost consciousness. Her heart had stopped. He called 911 and started CPR. He is a retired fire chief. He revived his wife, saving her life. She went to the hospital, and they installed a pacemaker, and she is just fine, and she remains so. It occurred to me that in addition to being a hero for this, here is the rarest example of a man who has actually won the game of flaws. He will never have to contest it again. He won't.
I don't get that.
That's a
I don't
pass.
understand that.
That's a pass.
He saved his wife's life. She won't have the nerve to ever indict him in the game of flaws again.
Right.
You
Right.
think she will, Ken?
Free pass.
According to
I
Billy
wanna
Stein,
know.
though, they never did engage in the game of flaws anyway.
Oh,
I want to know how many minutes went by after she regained consciousness that she started up on him again.
Well,
Yeah, he's going to use it up.
Hey,
pretty
you got
quick,
bad
too.
breath. You ever brush your teeth? What's wrong with you? No, one of those deals.
Yeah, it's going to go fast.
You
is what I'm
grabbed my
saying.
boob, didn't you? I
Yeah.
know you grabbed
Yeah.
my boob.
the CP, she makes an odd purchase once in a while.
Okay.
Now, on the mirror in the bathroom is a device. You stick your
Okay.
toothpaste in it. You stick your toothbrush in it, and it comes out with the toothpaste on it.
what?
Because heaven forbid you have to lift that heavy case.
Well,
of,
I'm on your side. I argued that this was not necessary.
yeah, I'm with you. I don't want. Hey, I'll get my own toothpaste.
It's the damnedest thing you've ever seen.
I didn't know that was an option.
So
You stick the toothpaste tube in this thing, and it stands upright.
Okay.
Then there's a
Yeah.
hole. You stick the toothbrush in there, and apparently that activates some mechanism that puts toothpaste on the toothbrush.
The proper
Then you
spot-
withdraw the toothbrush, and then boom.
start.
the spot that you stick your toothbrush, how big is that? I mean, is it,
Oh, a little toothbrush size hole.
so you can only get a toothbrush in
Well,
there.
that's right. Just a very small deal. And I don't.
So that'd be good for you, Matthew.
Well, it's on the wall. It'd be tough to get to it.
Yeah, I mean it's. Get up here. Yep, here it is.
You people are.
What about the
You
part where you
people.
spill the
It's you
What are you
people.
doing in there?
You
What's
people.
going on
people.
in there?
I'm just grabbing some toothpaste.
Almost done.
You people are sick.
And then when you do your such paste.
Well, it eliminates that.
Yeah.
How can it?
Well, it doesn't
you still-
eliminate sewage paste,
Right.
Yeah,
but
you
it,
still dribble.
you still have a spillage once in a while.
Yeah.
You got a hole in your lip or what?
I've told you that I'm putting together your whole house. I went through the windows.
Yep.
I went through this stucco.
From the windows to the wall.
And how about now the
So,
garage door? Oh, I had an email. Somebody was just thrilled with the service.
Runs down though.
And I'm puzzled as to why I lost that email. But it was John Harrington, not the John Harrington, the cop, but a different John Harrington. He called Precision Garage Door, and they came out and fixed everything he needed fixing, and he loved it. He loved every moment of it. And I can't find the email.
Another satisfied GLer.
It is, and people, GLers have put this number in their contacts for Precision Door, 612-263-6985. They also do new garage doors in addition to repairing your existing apparatus, and those estimates are free. They send out a garage door person. They've got models of doors for every budget and design that you might have in mind. It's wonderful stuff. And remember, they don't charge more for weekends. Precision Garage Door serves Western Wisconsin and the entire metro area. Call Precision Garage Door at 612-263-6985 or go to the website and schedule a free on-site new door estimate, if you will. PrecisionDoorMN.com.
The earth is not your mother. The Joe Souchere Show.
I've been saving this. I cut it out of the Friday Wall Street Journal, Friday, Aug 30 of this year. It's written by Bjorn Lomborg. Does anyone know who that is?
He was a long jumper in the 1976 Olympics.
That was Bjorn Borg.
Bjorn Lomborg was a very active climate hysterian who saw the light as he began to apply logic to the whole question. He's now president of the Copenhagen Consensus and author of Fake Alarm and Best Things First. And it was an opinion piece in the Wall Street Journal. It was just so full of common sense.
How full of common sense was it?
Well, the reason you've heard a lot about extreme heat deaths this summer has more to do with demagoguery than data. Alongside the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres' call to action on the topic in late July, mandarins across UN organizations have issued warnings that are heavy on emotion and light on facts. In early August, the World Health Organization trumpeted a disturbing figure. In Europe alone, more than 175,000 people die each year because of extreme heat. That was an about fourfold exaggeration. When called out, the organization quietly edited its online publication to remove the word extreme from the statement's title, a concession that these deaths aren't, as the WHO suggested, the result of a cataclysmic shift in temperatures. Unfortunately, the media had already spread the WHO's original mistaken claim far and wide. Moreover, the edited version left out other important context. While seasonal rises in temperature that have been the norm for decades do kill people, it's a far smaller toll than the number taken by cold weather. In Europe, cold kills nearly 4 times as many people as heat, a danger that a warming climate helps ameliorate. I won't read you the whole thing, but it goes on to point out that if you want to worry about something, people are dying from cold far more than they're dying from heat. He also points out malnutrition claims 26,000 lives across Europe and Central Asia every year. You'd think that would be the UN's concern. It goes on, but it's just wonderful. I would look it up. Because it just makes so much sense. Guterres is pushing policies that would jack up energy prices and undercut economic growth, which I think must be what the mystery ultimately desires, right? He insists the world's disease is an addiction to fossil fuels. Well, it isn't. And demands that governments keep the average global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius. That would cost quadrillions of dollars, spike electricity costs, and spread poverty. All this raises the question whether Mr. Guterres and his cohorts are more interested in stopping heat deaths or ginning up support for climate activism. At the very least, they should get their numbers right. Bjorn Lomborg.
Unfortunately, with climate change, you can't argue with this narrative the way you would argue with a fact, but even facts don't seem to get in the way of this climate narrative. It's just steamrolling ahead despite all the evidence otherwise.
It's just, he's fascinating. I read him every time I see his name because he started out his public life as damn near, what's her name? Who's the screwed up teenager? Greta Thunberg.
Oh, yeah.
He was damn near of that vein, and he has come around to realize that. And very few of these guys who start end up changing their minds. And he did, for a variety of reasons, all in his writings. But he did change his mind. And
when have personal narratives, can we define when they took over and are given more respect than facts? Why don't we look at facts anymore? It's always a narrative.
I think the simple answer would be that too many people have figured out, this is another avenue for them to pursue getting grant money. I just think this is the way many people are getting paid. They're getting paid to keep dreaming up this
Right.
BS, and they're paid by the people who are propagating the mystery. They're the failed academy,
But-
various NGOs.
Facts don't get any footage.
Yeah.
You constantly decry this, and you just get labeled as a climate denier, and that's good enough.
Yeah.
No matter how many facts you present.
Well, I'm not a climate denier. I deny the hysteria. The climate has always changed and always will. 10,000 years ago, we would have been sitting on ice. You know, the climate always changes. We've been through this a million times. The point is, it's a really worthwhile question for euphorians to ask themselves. I'm very serious. When you read a headline like you did last Friday in the Minneapolis paper, you have just gone through the most humid summer of your life. Well, A, summer's not over. B, we don't know that. But C, what are you to glean from that? Sit down, read that story again, find its flaws, check your facts, and then tell me what you think is supposed to be the end game for these kinds of claims. Now, today, look at me, focus.
Yep.
Today, you can get in your own car.
Yep.
You can go to a gas station.
Okay.
You might have an electric car. You can still plug it in.
Yep.
Go to the gas station, fill her up with ethyl.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to the grocery store and buy groceries.
Got it.
That's today.
Nobody's going to stop me.
I don't know if that can be said 5 years from now or 10 years from now. So again, why do you think these things through, people? What do you think the end game is for harping constantly about this BS? What do you think the end game is? It can't be to encourage your lifestyle. That's antithetical to encouraging your lifestyle.
Yeah.
What is the end game of you supposed to be worried about humidity? Which you can't do anything about.
Right. That's why worry about it. It is what it is.
Let's
Unless you throw money at it.
I gotta throw a wrench at you here.
Okay.
Let's go back to what we're not going to be able to do in 5 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of sounds like the harping we're getting from the left about the world coming to an end in 5 years from now. So now we've got two opposite sides of a coin talking about doom and gloom at some point down the road.
They'll only use
How?
they'll only use the threat of the world coming to an end to prevent you from going to buy that tomato I keep talking about.
So, okay, all right.
You can still do it today.
As for last Friday, that's just propping up the narrative. Every now and then they have to reconfirm, that we're destroying the earth here, people. And the fact that it was humid this summer is, proof of that.
It wasn't that humid this summer. We have 4 or 5 days where it was humid.
First of all, I wish I was having this discussion with anybody else but you.
Right.
Because you love humidity.
I do. It doesn't bother me. I mean, I don't like it.
I don't think you should be I think it'd be somebody like me who hates humidity that should be taking the lead on this one.
Renewal by Anderson brings you.
Is it humid at your
We're
house?
done. Oh,
Call me
okay,
now.
Kenny.
Call me now.
Okay, Kenny.
Okay,
you
Kenny.
Dumb.
Renewal by Anderson brings you only because they come to us all the way from Cleveland, Ohio, the temporary stopping place of the traveling Lymans. And it was on this day
You're talking about September 3rd already.
in 1783. The Treaty of Paris was signed, ending both the Revolutionary War and, in theory, British control of what is now eastern Minnesota. In fact, British trading posts remained in the region until after the War of 1812.
Huh.
On this day,
9-3.
1849,
Yes, sir.
for its first meeting, the territory's legislative assembly convened in the Central House, located at Minnesota and Bench Streets in St. Paul. Boy, Bench Street has come up before in this day in history. The Reverend Edward D. Neal gave the invocation, and the council met in the parlor while the House sat in the dining room. See? On this day,
September 3rd.
in 1860,
Yes, sir.
the state's first normal school opened in Winona.
Yeah, go Windhawk.
And with 2 teachers and 20 students. The first normal school.
Normal.
Well, normal schools were 2-year colleges dedicated to training teachers.
So was that a badge of status?
I'm going to a normal school.
I go to normal school.
I go to normal school. On this very day,
September 3rd.
in 1883, a celebration in St. Paul marked the impending completion of the Northern Pacific Railroad from St. Paul to the Pacific coast. The road was actually completed on September 8th. Well, then why do we celebrate it today? Guests included Railroad President Henry Villard, President Chester A. Arthur, Ulysses S. Grant, and General Phil Sheridan.
Huh. We were that excited. That's
Let
why
me
we
repeat
celebrate.
this. A celebration in St. Paul marked the impending completion.
I see.
And finally, on this very day
September 3rd.
of 2002, the historic Stillwater State Prison burned down, foiling developers' plans to convert the building into condominiums and apartments.
How'd that work
What
out?
date? What year?
02.
2002 on this day.
I don't remember that. Do you?
I do remember the old state prison.
Yeah.
Anybody remember seeing it?
Mm-mm.
It was
That thing
set
was
back
haunted.
into the cliffs there.
That was haunted. You don't want to live in a
Oh, it
place
was
like
terrible.
that.
It was
The devil burned that down.
That's right.
Hey,
It was a spooky
is that it?
place.
Is that it?
Yes.
I need your help, Joe and
Okay,
John.
Okay.
Remind me on this Friday, September 6th,
When did I get
that it's my wedding anniversary. Could you help me with that? You two, I'm relying on you, especially you, Joe.
This Friday, September 6th.
Yeah.
Well, then here's while it's fresh in your mind, go do something about it today. That's how
What do
you
you mean
take
by
care
that?
of that. Well, go buy her a puzzle or something.
A
coloring
puzzle.
book, do something.
Well, she should buy me something.
Well, that's true. But then
Wasn't it
you-
last year, Ken, that you both forgot that it was your wedding anniversary?
Yeah, her mother called and said, "Hey, happy anniversary, kids."
I never believe anyone who says they forgot their anniversary date, including Kenny and his wife. I don't
Well,
believe
there's a
you.
lot you don't believe about me. I think it's because you live such a miserable existence that you can't believe there are happy people out in the world.
Why is that, Joe?
Why are you so
Don't-
miserable?
Don't tell me
You're
I hit that.
Crabby,
Why
you're
don't you tell me
sour.
why I
Why don't you
forgot?
tell me why I forgot?
Don't like any. You've literally been blessed by the Lord above, and you walk around fuming every day.
I don't think that's true, and you're casting me in a bad light.
Thank you, GLers.
Is that going to do it for today?
Big bleeping hayseed.
That's what I was looking for. Took a
Remember,
while.
that's Horsch. H-O-R.
It was harsh bleep.
S-C-H-E. Do us a favor, hit the subscribe button. It's right there on the Garage Logic YouTube channel, because on that YouTube channel, we're posting daily content for your amusement. It includes full segments, video shorts, behind the scenes footage, all sorts of stuff is there for you each and every single day. That's the Garage Logic YouTube channel. And if you would like, you can sign up for the daily newsletter. Yeah, it comes right to your inbox. And it also includes the most recent up-to-date episode of the Garage Logic podcast. Oh, crap.